And I thought about when I was a kid and I was in a Bible ministry school where we were trained how to public speak and how to minister to people. And I remember I had to give 5-minute talks. And I remember sitting down to prepare these talks and thinking, 5 minutes? That's so much time. What am I going to do with 5 minutes? How am I ever going to talk to people for 5 straight minutes? And that's when it occurred to me, if I could accomplish something impactful in 5 minutes, imagine what I could do with 10 minutes. And that's when I realized what I wanted to talk to everyone about tonight. Because it was nothing about that 10-minute time period that changed. It was me that changed. It was my perspective on the 10 minutes that changed completely. And suddenly I felt like I had an eternity. And that was incredible. So it's really what I wanted to let you all walk away with tonight is your perspective and how our perspective on life can alter our life completely. And specifically how our perspective on people can alter the trajectory of our business and our lives completely. With every thought and every interaction with others, we have the choice to see them as the precious metal that they really are, or to look at people as the spots of tarnish that have become on us from the wear and tear of life. And we really need to ask ourselves, how are we looking at people? Are we staring at the tarnish on them? And are we constantly looking for what's tarnished in other people and validating that is who they are, because that's what we want to see in them? Imagine how foolish it would be to throw out an expensive piece of antique jewelry because it was tarnished. Yet, how often do we do that to people and opportunities in our lives? We've seen the dark side in someone and we dismiss them, or we overlook our own opportunities for us to learn, for us to grow, for us to partner up with people, because we choose only to see what we want to see in them, what we feel like we validated about them or about an opportunity. I have a friend, and we were sitting in her car one day, and her phone rings, and she's like, "Oh, can you just grab that and check who it is?" And I look, and it says, "Foolish child." I was like, "Foolish child?" And she's like, "Oh, that's my boyfriend." I was like, do you realize what you're doing? Do you realize that you're training your subconscious mind to think that about him? So anytime you're bringing up your relationship, anytime you're talking to him, the way you're starting to treat him, there's always this underlying thought that he's a foolish child. And yet, so many of us do a similar thing. Oh, her? I'm not going to bother talking to her about my products or business. She's always complaining that she's broke. Have you ever seen a homeless person with a cell phone? I have. They're all over New York City. Truth is, we all make the time and the money for things that are important to us. So are we shutting down opportunities before we even give ourselves to see it through? What about potential team members? Do we overlook certain people or refrain from talking to them because of our judgments? Oh, she's a mess. She's too uptight. A straight guy? Never. One of the most sought after cosmetic retail managers in the game when I entered it 10, 12 years ago was a straight guy who was great at business, learned how to do makeup, and killed it and made a lot of money and was sought after by every retail brand that I had worked with. And then what about those who have a cringe when they think of direct sales? Ooh, you've seen your mom or your aunt selling jewelry or Tupperware in the 80s and 90s, or your friend from high school that you haven't talked to in years is suddenly spamming your Facebook with their product links or pulling you into groups that you had no interest in. Has this turned you away from potential products or business opportunities because of the stigma there? When we make choices in our minds to dogmatically define ourselves or someone else, we limit ourselves from the possibilities that we could create by opening up to them. In essence, we're limiting our network, we're limiting our business, we're limiting our earning potential, and we're limiting our worth. So, what about it though? What about being right? It feels so good to be right, doesn't it? When we decide someone or something is something, we decide that girl's a mess, we decide direct sales is icky. It feels good to be right, doesn't it? Let me ask you, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy and successful? Cheryl Beckelder, I don't know if I'm saying that right, forgive me if you know of her, the current CEO of Popeyes. She changed her perspective after she got let go from her previous company, which she thought she was doing incredibly well at, and her focus was always on profits. So when she got let go, it was time for her to take a cold, hard look at the way she did things. And she decided to change her perspective from profits to people. She got hired at Popeyes as the CEO, and over her 10 years, she's raised their sales by over 25%. So for anybody who thinks it's weird or touchy-feely to care about people, as a businessman, I'm here to tell you there's profits in people. And that's exactly what we're here for. That's exactly what we're doing. I myself, as a pro makeup artist for 12 years, who's worked with celebrities, worked on TV sets, worked on red carpets, worked on Broadway shows, when I had the opportunity to link myself up with a direct sales brand, I definitely stopped for a minute and said, what am I doing? What about my reputation? What about all these weird spammy links I get that I immediately jump away from? What about that? And I said, wait, I have an opportunity to change my perspective. And if I can change my perspective and see that there's something different in this, and look for the good in what I could potentially do with this, I could see the potential in it. And I took the leap. It's only been a few months, but my life has never, ever had more purpose to it. I've never in my life felt more fulfilled about who I am or the path I'm on. It's not always easy, and I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that it is. But it's so much easier than slaving to someone else for a vision that I don't believe in. So what I just want to let you walk away with tonight is take a look at your life, and if there's somewhere that you're pushing yourself away from, if there's someone that you're pushing yourself away from, if there's something that might be an opportunity, but you don't want to look at it because you've already made up your mind about what it is, I'm going to invite you to give yourself a second chance and change your perspective, because it could alter the course of your life.